So as you guys already know, Cuba is a nation with a lot of problems. In this video, we're gonna go to a neighborhood that is said to have 90% of the criminals in Havana, El Cerro. Okay, let's go into the belly of the beast. Here we go.
Si tú quieres que la vida te sonría, si tú quieres que la vida te vaya bien, deja de joder, deja de joder. Sé feliz, da amor y verás que todo puede suceder. Deja de joder, deja de joder. Sigo mi sol, sigo mi rumbo, lucho por los míos y mando pa'l carajo al mundo. Salgo en la mañana pa' la carretera a pelear, pa' echarme 3 pesos en la cartera.
So guys, when you get away from the tourist areas, things can get pretty grim here. You see people on the edge of existence. It's not something great. It's something that kind of hits the soul. It tickles the soul in a way that brings you back to childhood, at least for me. Seeing some of my poor relatives in Jamaica, but in comparison to how people are doing here, in some cases, it ain't that bad. So right here, you guys see a building that nature has partially taken over. All right. The roof maybe has collapsed a good 20 years ago, right? But on the other side that still has a roof, you still have people living there. Cool. And another thing, things like scabies are super popular here. Okay, in many cases, it's due to dirty bedding. Okay, dirty bedding being shared by multiple members of a family or by multiple families. Okay, and you get dirty bedding because of that, and that'll cause families to have scabies, across generations. And then right around the corner from the madness, you have a nice car tucked away. What is that, an Infinity? I don't know. When people look at the condition of Cuba, they like to attack it and say that, oh, this is what socialism does. No, it's not that. This is what being in the Caribbean is. The Caribbean has always been a place like this, always where you'll find intense poverty, especially where there's no industry. Sugar, which was once the main export of this country, their main cash crop, right, fell off, right? The profits from it fell off and the production of it fell off. So Cuba doesn't really produce much of anything anymore. Okay, you're gonna get your rum, your cafe, a couple other things, really good fruits and vegetables, but most of that is consumed domestically. Okay, so the world doesn't know how good Cuban produce is.
Lonely is the night, can't endure it away from you.
So in Camilo Cienfuegos, Cuba had a revolutionary that may have been an anti-communist. Okay, somebody who was an unknown commodity. He was intensely loyal to Fidel, and that potentially might have gotten him killed. He went out to the countryside in order to arrest Uber Matos, who was an anti-socialist, and then on the way back, his plane disappeared. A plane that was never found. Had Camilo Cienfuegos lived, would Cuba today be any different? Would it have taken a turn back towards the United States? Would it have taken a turn towards another capitalist nation? We'll never know. Yo, I haven't been to a place where there's so many flipping landmines. Okay, and what I mean by landmines is not the type that'll blow off your foot, but the type that'll make you wish your foot was blown off. A lot of human shite on the sidewalk over here. Haven't been to a place like this in a while. This is not all of Cuba, of course.
When you move away from the intense tourist sections, you get a sense of what the real Cuba is like. Money means a lot, sure, but social bonds between individuals, that dictates the pace of things. Aquí.
So this here is El Estadio Latin America. Okay, this is where the Industriales play. The team was once the Havana Sugar Kings. That team, of course, went down after Fidel, and then the Cubans started their own league or restarted their league, and then you have these local teams like the Industriales, which is...
Historically, Cuban players defected because as opposed to making beans in Cuba, they could go to the United States or Japan and earn millions.
Over the years, the MLB has actually spent some money on this stadium. Okay, there's been several games over the years, major league teams coming in, playing against a local team. Coincidentally, where the stadium is one of the toughest areas in the city. Okay, yeah, this is further away from the tourist dollars, further away from the Airbnb, so the people here are a little bit more hurt.
The roads are dusty, the air is in bad shape, and the stray dogs look hungrier. Most tourists don't venture out to this pocket of Havana, so the neighborhood, in a sense, is starved. At night, would you feel somewhat intimidated walking these streets?
For my fellow socialists, you have to give Cubans a little bit of space whenever they are in Miami, in Spain, and complaining fanatically about the regime and the negative things, such and such about them. You know, even if we don't agree, we have a different perspective. We have to allow them their space to speak, okay, because they're coming from a place of trauma. So they have to trauma vent, and then afterward, then we can bring them back to reality. You know, all my guys who come to Cuba go back home different. You go back home with a different appreciation for life, but then you realize at the same time, in the States, in Canada, UK, we're not necessarily living life. We're just operating within a capitalist system where the majority of our time is dictated by what we do for work, how we make money. Here, they show you how to live life, but mainly without money, right? It's kind of a transformative experience. It makes life go a little bit slower when you're back home. It allows you to be a little bit more intentional, to extract value in places where you didn't used to.
Aquí estoy yo, parqueado en el mismo lugar donde te conocí. Estoy pensando, escuchando en WhatsApp, mami, tú te imaginas.
When you come to these parts, you can't find much that'll interest a tourist. However, there's some things that'll fill your belly. Let me show you real quick. Wait, whose girl is that? That's you? Wait, run it back. She nice, but my friend C is better. I want you guys to come to El Brutal to see my girl Claudia.
Cerro los ojos, imagino que estamos yo y tú cingando. Una na, una na, una na, una na, una na. Mami, tú eres el fantasma que todas las noches me sale. Una na, una na, una na, una na, una na. Cierro los ojos, imagino que estamos yo y tú.
Fast food culture here in Cuba is huge. Okay, they love pizza, they love hamburgers, all those classic things that we consider Cuban, like the roast pork, the Moro's rice. All of that is, I wouldn't call it fringe, but it's something special here. Right? Majority of the action here in the streets is fast food, hamburgers.
They know how to mix sweet and savory. Check out their sauces. The pineapple joint, crazy.
Sigo pensando en tu boca, viendo tu foto en las redes. Te ves tan apetitosa, me entran ganas de comerte. Y yo ando loco, me entran ganas de llamarte. Cierro los ojos, imagino que estamos yo y tú cingando.
Meanwhile, this place is comfortable and well AC'd. Outside in Cuba, it's a war zone, especially with the mosquitoes.
Look at the product section, that way you can get your version of off. Okay, this is the 1 ounce version. This will last you a whole entire trip. As long as your trip is in 3 months, this is gonna last you. Something that can fit in your carry-on, something that TSA is not gonna take from you.
You see, in Cuba, this is a 10 out of 10. In the States, it might be a 7.5 out of 10. But here in Cuba, an absolute 10 out of 10. Make sure you hit them and tell them that Keenan Lambert sent you, the YouTuber. If you ain't coming for the food, come to at least say hi to my girl Claudia, or one of her co-workers.
Guys, I'm here with Claudia. Claudia is amazing. Okay, she's been super awesome here. Okay. She's the Cuban Frida. Okay.
And after you're done busting on your main course, you can have one of these desserts. Right here we have the cookie shake. It is better than a McFlurry. It's better than anything that you're going to get back in the States that's common. This is good, high-quality stuff. A rarity for Cuba.
Estamos aquí en Cerro, Infanta y Universidad. Okay, guys, mess with brutal. Okay, they have amazing fast food. I can't believe I'm saying that in Cuba, but they have amazing, dope fast food, well seasoned. They don't hold back. For my cheese lovers, come here. For my shake lovers, come here. Gotta love these guys. Yeah. So a really big burger, some fries, and then more fries for, well, actually, plus beers, 2 beers, for the low price of like $10. Maybe not even. You can't beat that. Cuba's not a real place. Okay. Right, you have a place called Parque Normal. There's nothing normal about this park. It's built like an 18th century Spanish fortress, not fort ship, fortress. So you know how in our households we're told as children not to get in cars with strangers, right? Hola, hola. You know how we're told not to get in cars with strangers. Here in the Caribbean, you get into any which vehicle that's going the way that you're going. It's interesting. I'm gonna be honest, I am high off of 3 cans of beer right now. I did have one before that, so we're talking about 4 cans of beer. And I still feel that pellet that hit me in the leg yesterday. Not good. Oops.
The more you wander these streets, the more you learn about Cuba in an unbridled way, in a way that they don't necessarily want you to know about. There are a lot of people in other parts of Latin America that sort of judge Cubans for their party-first nature. But when you don't have electricity, when you don't have water all the time, what can you do to prevent yourself from crying?
You see this big old communist tank here? What the hell is that? Yo, where's she going? I want to go too.
When you're here, you get to see which ones are sponsored by foreign dollars. It's pretty obvious.
You know, here you see more of that socialist influence. You see a lot of photos of Fidel, a lot of photos of Raúl. Okay, those traditional individuals.
Reparto cubano. I love it.
During the special period when the Soviet Union collapsed and they were no longer able to support the Cuban economy, things started popping up in Cuba that happened somewhat organically and at the encouragement of the government. Urban gardens in spaces that were unused, maybe there were abandoned buildings with soil. You had these urban gardens, okay? And this is one of them.
During this time, Cubans really became Caribbean. They used what they had in order to get by. These soils come to produce things like malanga, banana, plants. They diversified their agriculture overnight.
Now, all across the Caribbean, you're going to see these in the countrysides, right? Houses, and then random gardens, random little agricultural spaces. But here in Cuba, you'll find them in a lot of different places in cities. Away from Centro Havana, you have these great, beautiful, abandoned spaces. Even in Centro Havana, you do have them as well. But look, what was this before?
See, to me, what this looks like was maybe a factory for the special period, and things went left economically.
Urban decay. Now, a lot of times people say that Cubans are nice, genuine people. Oh, they're genuine people, they'll share with you, but oftentimes it's them trying to get something, right? Which is normal, it's human nature. It's interesting, it's very, very hard for them to have cars imported, right? It's just at prices that they can't necessarily afford. So they take these old vehicles, they improvise, and they make vehicles that work. Okay, right here you have, I guess you call it tuk-tuk, right? And these tuk-tuks, they run hard. I mean, 400,000 miles, 600,000 miles type of vibe, right? And then you have the old joints. Okay, the old joints are generally taxis. I mean, the old motors from back in the 50s, 40s, those have been swapped out. The majority of the pieces have been swapped out, except for the shells, okay? Maybe we should do more of that. Is having a new vehicle every 2-3 years, is it necessary? Okay. It creates an incredible amount of waste in our society. Is it necessary? Okay, here in Cuba, you see garbage in the streets, but these old machines are reused and reused and reused. They scrape every last value out of everything here.
Tomando aquí, tomando ahí, ahí en las horas felices. No estoy solo, solo sin ti. Triste y solo, solo, solo.
I'd like to thank you guys for catching this Cuban Hood vlog. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.